So can we move into, I mean, Stephen is the director of the Westmont Innovation Hub at UWL, and what I've been sent is the topic of the title of his quick presentation is Workspace, Ideation, Innovation, Incubation. What are these? Why are these words the words you've chosen, Stephen? Go ahead, tell us about them. But first, wait, you have to unmute before you start, Stephen. We don't want to miss a thing, as Aerosmith would say, don't want to miss a thing. I think because he's on his phone. Is it? Oops, he's gone.
There we are. Is that better? Can you hear me now?
We've lost your video. Oh no, we've got you back. Go ahead. Thank you, Stephen.
Well, you see, the trick is there's another word in there, Carleen, which is adaptability. And adaptability is one of those things. I was just listening to the conversation regarding businesses that managed to survive the pandemic. They did so by pivoting. They pivoted well. They were adaptable. They looked at their business model. They looked at what they were trying to achieve. They looked at their market and noted that it was changing. It may change differently even more. And they were trying to find out whatever the new normal, and I'm not sure what the new normal is yet, was going to be. And I'm having to be adaptable today, Carleen. I'm actually, yes, on my phone in Horsham. And why? Well, because somebody put my windscreen in Ealing the other day. So I'm having a new windscreen fitted. So I've got to be adaptable, and our businesses have to be adaptable too. The adaptability comes from the ideation, thinking long and hard about what those businesses' aims and objectives are. We don't do business plans in the hub, we do models. We do canvases. We look at the process, we look at the operational methodology, the thinking of the desirability of the product, the idea, the innovation. We look at the feasibility. We look at the viability. Are these businesses going to scale? Because it's scale that's important for any startup. Of course, we don't scale them in the hub. That's what they do when they leave us. They move on into market and to scale. But it's the innovation that's at the heart of what they're doing, and the ideation makes the innovation properly effective. But what we were trying to do is we're trying to have a space which is recovering from COVID, which is a co-working space. Space is not just for students or staff at the university, but as you know, is open to businesses across West London, in particular Ealing, to come and join us, to take some space and be part of the creative culture that is within West London, something that's actually very important at the university, something we harbour, something we harness, something we encourage. Our methodology is to assist that ideation with structure. The structure is the due diligence that investors will come to expect in those startups. The startup world is complicated, it's various. The investor world is actually more complicated now than it ever was. We're not quite sure where it's going to end up, but there is change. There is movement in investors. The angel market is venturing into the venture capital market, and the venture capital market is venturing into the angel market. EIS, SEIS, all those things that startups have to ensure they've got are now more important, because it gives the investor some government support in actually finding a way into supporting those businesses. But what we've got at the hub at the moment, we have a whole range of startups from the community that are businesses operating in West London, and they're operating from the hub. We've got 8 startup businesses that we're incubating, ranging from anything from getting your PCN paid for. Ironically, that company was stuck in Egypt, and some of the time they're still there. They got stuck there because of COVID. They adapted. They demonstrated that adaptability is fundamental to the startup life. It's all good fun, but it's actually knowing where the fun stops and the serious stuff starts. And it's the serious stuff of mentoring, peer mentoring, developing your idea, developing the software, the app, the code, the algorithm that supports the application, that supports the business model. We're very much in favour of securing the intellectual property, well, we'd have to be, because that's what investors actually buy in the end. They're buying the intellectual property which will be exploited to make the company grow, go to scale. Those are the sorts of things that we're looking to do. Those are the things that we're doing. Yes, we've adapted. Yes, it is 2 years ago, as one of the earlier speakers said, 2 years ago that we ended up under our stairs and in our spare bedrooms, trying to run our businesses and indeed running the hub. We started up the following day, the day after the university closed, the day after the university space closed to us. And we carried on reaching out to our startups, to our members, via virtual swarms, not unlike this, except I wasn't in Horsham, I was at home. Very much looking at how we could support businesses virtually, spending a long time online, a new way of working. Well, it worked. We got most of our businesses through COVID. We lost 3 or 4. And yep, if they weren't going to survive a pandemic, they certainly didn't. But those that did survive a pandemic have actually got somewhere to go. Even in the pandemic, you've got 2 companies to market. One is now valued by the investor at 5 million. That's not bad from doing Zooms and Teams meetings. And the other businesses are now being invested in. We've got investors from across the country, indeed globally, that are very interested in investing in our startups. And this week, my deputy Angela and I have got meetings with investors looking at how best we can shape the business that they want to invest in. And it's all about due diligence. And that's at the heart of our incubation model. That's what we do.
Due diligence and adaptability, as well as ideation, innovation, and what was the other one? You know, the good words for us to know the meanings of and to apply to our businesses. Where was Angela? I think Angela was going to give us from the perspective of the Freshminds, how Freshminds for Business at the university comes at it from another angle, from businesses that are already set up. Oh, I shouldn't be saying all of this. Angela, you want to tell us? Thank you so much, Stephen, for giving us perspective.
My pleasure.
From Westmont Innovation Hub. Angela, tell us how Freshminds for Business can help businesses in Ealing.
No, definitely. Thank you so much, Colleen. But before I start, can everyone hear me clearly? Perfect.
Thank you.
I see a lot of nods. Thank you very much. Colleen, I do have a presentation that I've created. It's okay to share my screen with everyone?
Do you need me to give you any? I think I said anybody can share. Is it sharing for you?
It says that's been disabled from your end.
Right, let me find you here. Let me just give you the thing. You want to try again?
Perfect.
Trying to work while they fix the screens.
Yeah.
Great fun.
There we go. Can everyone see my screen? If everyone can see my screen, just give me a nod or a thumbs up. Perfect.
Looks good, Paragon House.
Thank you, Colleen. So also thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk about Freshminds with everyone here today. My name is Angela Warwick. I am the Client Experience Coordinator for Freshminds for Business at UWL. So I just did a little quick presentation for all of you, and hopefully I'll get a few emails from everyone today just to inquire. So I'm here to help everyone today. So just to start off with who we are and how we can help you. So really basically Freshminds for Business is a student-led consultancy service provided by the university and founded in the Claude Littner Business School back in 2017. This Freshminds for Business is here to help students, businesses alike, and obviously including faculty, to help support them get that experience of the consultancy world. As you may know yourselves, students, depending on where they are, most of our students at the University of West London is usually international students, and sometimes students do not have the opportunity to do extra curriculum due to work commitments, family, and you know, it's always a little bit difficult as well when you can't find any paid internships or, you know, apprenticeships in that kind of way. So one of the things that Freshminds is here to help is to help students, give them that opportunity of the consultancy world, giving them that experience and being provided help with their course leaders and, you know, I forgot what they're called, supervisors, and, you know, the consultants that do work with us at the university. They are here to help businesses, especially in West London, help solve problems or challenges that any businesses may face. So as you can see here on this slide, it says our purpose is to create an effective environment in which students, businesses, and faculty can collaborate together towards the achievement of mutually beneficial outcomes. And here I've just put a few services that we have provided in the past for clients. And, you know, depending on your business needs, it really depends on what you're looking for. So there's always an opportunity to speak with myself, you know, talk about your business, see where we could help you. And, you know, you might fit into one of these, or you might actually bring us a new service that we can provide for future businesses coming ahead. So I also wanted to share with you our recognitions as well. So one of the best things that has actually come up recently is the Leveling Up Awards that we've recently got in June 2021 for Goal 9, which is extending enterprise, which is quite huge for ourselves. And since coming onto the role less than a year ago, this is something that's a big achievement for myself, and it's really good to have something there. Also, in addition, we also have from the Right Honourable Anne Milton, who says that Freshminds should be recognised for bringing students and businesses together to challenge the status quo. And businesses also gain new information, ideas, and they can improve and grow and be competitive compared to the other businesses in the area. Now, one of the things I wanted to bring up to you all, just to share our USP, and I like to call this my favorite USP, is the fact that Freshmind is integrated into the curriculum for both undergraduates and postgraduate courses. So students are working along the lines of their course to graduate, but also helping a business to gain what they need to do and what they need to improve if they need a service. And also here it says everybody does get a chance. Now, one of the things I would like to bring for you as well is the fact that it's also, you know, non-for-profit. There's no charge as well. So we do look after businesses from the small shops in Ealing High Street all the way to big organizations, for example, Mercedes, or even Heathrow Airport, which I'll bring on to myself to the next slide. So here you can have a look. So here for Freshminds, we want to bring businesses and students together. And I put here a few pictures and a few brands or, you know, companies that we have worked with. And as you can see, we've got, you know, the Brentford Football Club, which the students worked with a couple of years ago, where they actually did the research project to see if they should, you know, build or move into a new stadium. Should they get more seats? Should they do more pricings, different like level pricing? So that's one of the projects, as you can see, the students have done. In addition, in the top left corner, you see a lovely gentleman, Trevor Webb, who is actually part of Mercedes-Benz. He is a returning client. He always is able to help our students provide projects for us. And recently he did a project for us in terms of looking into electric vehicles, which was quite interesting for the students as well. And as you can see, you know, we also have Arrivo as well, one of our close ones that have just been recently done. They were looking into their workspaces, for example, in Richmond, seeing how to get more people to come into their offices. You know, everyone knows Godiva as well. They came in the past, and as well Alexander's, which is a removal company, I think based in Ealing as well. So they're quite, they were looking to see how to expand. So we're able to help in certain ways, no matter the size of the company. In addition, I just wanted to bring you guys to the recent stuff that we've done as well. So we recently partnership with Chiswick Business Park, and they're also currently doing projects with us in terms of their business. Here you can see on the top left side, this is RVS Media. You can see the CEO and his colleague speaking with the current student team that's working with them on their project to see how to, you know, expand their business into the UK. And we do have future projects with them as well. So that's really exciting to see. And, you know, the students are really engaged, and I'm always with the students when it comes to meeting the clients and making sure that everyone is happy 100% of the way. And of course, I do not want to forget as well, but we do also help charities in the area. So one of our past clients, of course, is Bright Lives, Acton Homeless Concern. And also recently we have Claire Davis here at the bottom with my colleague Gidraf, who is the CEO as Pets as Therapy. So she's currently doing a project with us on a marketing campaign with level 4 students in the University of West London Claude Littner Business School, which for those who might not know, that is first year students. So it's really interesting for them to get insights, and Claire is really excited to work with the university and Freshminds overall on this project. So I just wanted to tell you the 3 reasons why this is the driving success for the students. And the first one is obviously our dedicated faculty. So they are always here to help support the students. They all have their own experience, expertise, and that's why Freshminds is so successful in the way it is. Secondly, of course, is our committed clients. No matter how big the business is or small, you know, we are here to help. So, you know, feel free to, you know, send me a message if you are interested in Freshminds or wanting to know more. But of course, our final one is, let's see, engage alumni. So we do have students that have graduated, like myself, from the University of West London, that is also supporting Freshminds by doing helping out with the extra advice and helping the students and the projects as well. So that's it from me in terms of the presentation and in terms of Freshminds. I know I had 15 minutes to just talk about it really, really quickly. However, I've managed to create a QR code. If you all have your phones on you, you can scan the QR code. It will take you directly to our website. As well, I'll put it on the group chat as well, the link to the website if the QR code doesn't work for you. And I've also have my email here, which I'll also put on the group chat as well if you want to know more information. But I will be at the event tomorrow in person in one of the booths. Thank you, Carleen. So if you wanted to speak to me in person, or you want to talk to me even longer, or even a quick coffee one day for a meeting, any time of the week or in the next coming weeks, to talk about Freshminds and see how we can help you, please do let me know. But that's it for my presentation, Carleen. Thank you. Hi, Carleen, I think you're on mute as well, just in case.
Carleen, you're on mute.
Sorry, I've just been chatting to myself for like a whole minute. My husband's just shouted from the next room, just unmute yourself and shut up. I was just talking about when I was at the Hounslow Festival of Business. Was it last week, 2 weeks ago? And I was speaking to Spencer from Erivo, and he was just gushing about how they worked with Freshminds, and you know, it's making me think, you know, I could do with some Freshminds on my business. So once you get the bread rush from our group today, we must have some time to talk about it. But yeah, I said to Spencer, he definitely must send back some feedback to yours to show how good you worked, and we love it that you work with Brentford as well. Thank you so much for your ideas, and we have one more idea from the University of West London to come from Janet Rowson, who is head of, oh God, I forgot, degree apprenticeships at UWL, and you know, she's going to talk to us about how we can get apprentices involved in our business. It doesn't matter that we are tiny businesses. We are, you know, a lot of us are going to grow to the point where we can we can feel that an apprentice would suit our business. So Janet, would you like to tell us a little bit about how the university can help us with that?
Yeah, can I share my screen, Carleen?
Oops, wait, let me try and, where are you?
Am I able to share the screen?
Right, so you're co-host, so you can go ahead and share this. Is it giving you the permission now?
I'm just going to have a little look. Just going to say good morning. I've just made my own little cappuccino there, so hopefully don't get foam on my nose. Right, let's have a look.
I was trying to while you're bringing it up, I was also trying to broadcast to Facebook because I'm getting a few messages saying that people can't get on. All right, you're all shared up.
Thank you.
We all want to see the foam on your nose now.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, I've got so many blooming screens going here because I'm working from home because I'm actually COVID positive. So I won't be meeting any of you tomorrow. I will have a colleague coming to the Doubletree at Ealing to meet you all, my colleague Victoria. Unfortunately, I won't be there.
We'll miss you.
Yes, I'm just in my fantasy coffee shop here. Anyway, good morning and thank you very much for giving me a few minutes, Carleen, to talk about degree apprenticeships at the university. I'm going to title it Degree Apprenticeships because that is my role, head of degree apprenticeships. But some of the stuff I'm going to talk about actually is quite generalist for anybody who is thinking about possibly taking on an apprentice in their business. And I'm quite happy to talk generally about apprenticeships. So just from our point of view as a university, that's what we do. We provide apprenticeships at what we call higher and degree level. So anything starting at what in the university world is called level 4, in other words, post A level or post BTEC is then a higher or a degree apprenticeship. And at the moment, if you go on the Institute for Apprenticeships and Technical Education onto their website and you filter, you'll see there's just approximately 350 different occupational apprenticeship pathways that could be utilized in your business. Some of them are very niche, bookbinding, horse husbandry, very specific apprenticeships, but some of them are quite generalist, like a degree apprenticeship in business, sort of business studies. It's called a chartered manager. And we have a lot of apprentices from lots of different employers using that particular apprenticeship pathway. And some of our employers are not just small, they're micro, and they're still able to support an apprenticeship through their small business. So I think we probably at this meeting do understand it, because apprenticeships, certainly in this format, have been around for 5 years now. But just a reminder, it is that wonderful product of learn and earn, which is very appealing to the applicant. But from your employer's perspective, you do need to employ them for at least 30 hours a week. You do need to have them in a job or role where they're learning new knowledge, skills, and behaviors. So it's got to be a new job. You need to be sure that you're providing, as you would, I'm sure, a safe environment. You need to make sure that you do a proper induction with them and that basically they're a completely normal signed up employee for you. Because of Brexit, they also need to be a UK national, or they have settlement or pre-settlement status. If they're from outside of the EU economic area, they may also be eligible. It just depends how long they've lived in the UK. And that's because these are English apprenticeships. And ultimately, for a small business, it's likely that they are going to be funded directly via the Treasury. And, the government has put its sort of, if you like, parameters in about who could be eligible. But I also want you to think about existing employees, because it isn't necessarily thinking, oh, I'm going to attract an 18 to 24-year-old. It can also be for existing staff as well that haven't had the opportunity to develop themselves, and you think they're worth investing in. You've seen how they work, they're a committed employee. You're giving them the opportunity to upskill and develop themselves. And in fact, 60% of the apprentices attending the university and working are what we call mature. They're most certainly over the age of 24. I've got apprentices who are 40, 50, 55 years old. I've even got someone who's 62. So apprenticeship doesn't mean it's around young people always. It can be any age, there's no age limit. And it can be your existing staff. I think the big part for employers to understand, though, is that you are paying them as a full-time member of staff with all the benefits that go with it. But bear in mind, you do need to give them some protected learning time, which we call off the job. And the time required is a minimum of 20% of their normal working week. And that is protected study time, whether they're doing things in the workplace with a trainer or an assessor, or in our world of the university, it generally means they're attending the university for 1 day per week. So for 1 day, they're extracted from your business. They're not working for you, but you are still paying them, but they're studying for their apprenticeship. And I think that's a really important point that we're all clear on. The benefits are huge. And most of my employers are talking about very quickly what we call a return on investment. So a small business that I work with in digital consultancy, they now have 5 apprentices, not all at the same time, but gradually over the last 4 years, they've got 5 different apprentices going through, and they say it's incredible how quickly they can return on that investment. The other thing about apprenticeships, I think is worth mentioning, is that how do we pay for it? So for the big world, the big boys, if they have a pay bill over 3 million per year, very big boys, but we do have those employers in Ealing, then you don't pay directly. They are already going to pay into something called the Apprenticeship Levy. And that's a digitalized account. So as soon as that employer starts working with the university, the funds move across to the university on a monthly basis. But if you're a small employer and you're not anywhere near that kind of pay bill, the maximum you would ever contribute to these training programs would be 5% of the total cost. And the total cost is also set by government. We can't, as a university, add on a couple of extra thousand. It's very clear the maximum we can charge for an apprenticeship. And if your candidate also had some prior learning or prior qualifications, we would also reduce the cost of the apprenticeship. But the maximum you would ever contribute would be 5%. So on a full 3-year degree apprenticeship, you're looking at just maybe £1,500 for the entire duration of the apprenticeship. Everything else is funded via the government. If you are a small employer, less than 50 full-time employees, and your apprentice is in that magical 16 to 18, then there would be no cost. And we do have employers, again, going back to my employer up in Dollis Hill, a couple of his new starters recently were 18 at the start of the apprenticeship. He has less than 50 employees. There's no financial contribution from the business, but they still obviously have to release that apprentice to participate in their learning. And the final thing for small employers, this is something that came in April last year, is you must reserve your funding. So you do need to register with the Digital Apprenticeship Service, and you need to reserve funding. It looks enormous, like thousands of pounds, but all you're doing is reserving it because you're letting the government know that potentially you might want to have an apprentice. And that's a change, as I said, that came in just under a year ago. So other initiatives that should be attractive, if you are a small employer, look at your supply chain. If you have an apprenticeship levy paying employer in your network, in your supply chain, large employers can share their levy. They can give their levy to you. So they can levy up to 25%, they can share with you. So that's one thing I think that's worth considering, talking to who you work with as well in terms of other ways to fund the apprenticeship. So you would pay nothing because you would use the levy from your levy paying contact. There is new sectorial apprenticeship agencies. So these are particularly attractive for the arts and media and digital industries, where small employers can get together and share the apprentice. So instead of having one apprentice for yourself for the entire 3 years of the apprenticeship, you can actually share that apprentice with other employers. And that's something that's quite new. And definitely the university, we're looking at that because we think it's very important for Ealing and the whole West London economy, where we know, certainly in the arts and media and digital industries, lots of very, very micro employers who might be a little bit concerned about taking somebody on for an entire duration, but would be happy to have somebody for 6 months or a year. So that's another initiative. Apprenticeships are definitely becoming more flexible. And finally, there are, as I said, incentives. Unfortunately, one has just closed where the government was giving every new apprenticeship start employer £3,000, regardless of their levy paying, non-levy paying. That was a contribution the government was making. So I think those sort of initiatives will come back on. They extended it and extended it. I'm sure that will come back again, where they're making a generous incentive to employers to take on new apprentices. And one other comment, our research is showing that definitely apprenticeships are helping up with the levelling up agenda. We can see from our own data where the apprentices are coming from, their backgrounds. Often the apprentices we have, as I said, are not necessarily the sort of 18 to 24-year-old from school. They're actually mature people. The local NHS in Ealing, for example, we have a lot of apprentices with them, and they're often people that have never had the opportunity to do this kind of development. They are often first generation in the household to take part in higher education. Coming from a very, very, as you'd expect in London, a wide range of backgrounds. But we know that that is the profile of our apprentices, and we also know it's working. So another message to employers is that apprenticeships do help you retain staff. And again, very important for certain sectors in industry, such as the digital industry sector. We've got a 94% retention rate at the moment. So that means they're coming, they're staying with the employer, and they're doing their apprenticeship. And again, research is telling us that apprentices tend to be highly motivated. They tend to have less days off sick. People have done the research in that. And also they're getting successful outcomes. So as we process apprentices through the university, we're getting very, very good results. Most of our apprentices will get a classified degree or a master's degree or a cert education, and also they complete their apprentices. So we're getting good retention, we're getting good outcomes, and that generally is helping obviously the broader picture of society, where you're having people with better skill sets, more able to learn, and also passionate about learning, because you want your employees to always be interested in developing themselves and being keen to introduce new initiatives to the workplace, etc. So on completion, as I said, they do generally get a degree qualification. We built that in where the government has taken out a higher education qualification. We're still keeping it in. Good example is the senior leader apprenticeship. We still offer the MBA as part of that. They will get a graded apprenticeship certificate. And of course, for a lot of apprentices, it's the step on the journey to professional accreditation, such as RICS, Institute for Civil Engineers, Nursing Midwifery Council, etc. So a lot of professional recognition requires them to make that apprenticeship journey.
Janet,
so I need this slide. Just to say, this is our offer.
All right. I was hoping we could just have just 1 minute, because we're getting into the speed networking session now. Just one minute to, if anybody wanted to ask Janet, or there are a lot of questions for Angela in the chat. I'm just wondering, does anybody have anything you want to ask Janet now, or should we say you'd get in touch with her? Janet, would you put your contact details in the some way we can get in touch with you? All right. And I think everyone, if you, there you go, janet.rowson@uwl.ac.uk.
I'll put it in the chat as well.
Yes, please. And everyone, please take a chance now to save the chat because there's lots going on in there. I mean, we had some good questions, which I completely did not pick up on when they were being typed in. You know, one Yuri's typed up his usual big, long questions about interacting with big businesses, but that's a panel that we're dealing with tomorrow with Carol Sam. But okay, so if anybody doesn't have anything you want to talk to Janet about right now, we can.
Or email me.
All right, we'll follow it up because this is something, it's a lot of people have that struggle. How do you step out from being a micro business and hiring your first staff member? So to me, it seems like that's like a good bridge to hire to have an apprentice from the university there. So it's not, don't have this full on pressure. It feels like a pressure when you're hiring somebody and you have to, so we'll look at this again. Now this is being recorded, so I will be putting it up on the YouTube a bit later, so we can look back on it and see come up whatever questions we have. Okay, Rena.
No problem. So as I said, I won't see any of you tomorrow unless they put a screen up and I can just chat away.
All right. Well, I hope, I hope that COVID doesn't get any worse. I hope.
No, it's definitely getting better. But I wouldn't come round and give it to other people. It wasn't that nice. So
we appreciate it. Definitely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to the three presenters from University of West London, and I'll bump into you in the hallways of Paragon House or St. Mary's Road, and we can chat some more about these things. But everyone is welcome to stay on.